morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. Thank you very much for joining us on this Friday edition of Gudday Grenada. Good morning, folks. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Hazel. And it's a so-so morning here. We don't have any rain right now, but it's kind of quasi-overcast, if you will. A little sun, a little cloud, whatever. Still a great morning and good to be alive. Good morning, Mr. Simon, and good morning, Rachel John. Thank you very much for joining us. You're the top three this morning. And I imagine that the others are going to be slowly sauntering into the forum. For example, here comes Peter Bishop. And Lydia James says she's very early today. No kidding, Lydia. Nice to see you. You're trying to challenge Hazel? I don't know. Good luck. Good luck, because I don't know what she does, but she has been winning. She's won more entries than anybody else on the forum. Pilgrims, we're going to change things around a little bit this morning. We're going to turn things around. Good morning, Ryan. So let's take a look at the rundown here. Was it yesterday or the day before? We were talking about the passport prices. And with the help of a good friend out there, Pele Darbo, I now have a comparative look at the passport prices in the OECS. And we did that in light of the fact that, you know, the immigration authorities here were trying to give the impression that, you know, when compared to the other OECS islands, Grenada ain't that bad. Well, you'll find out in just a wee bit. Now, right after that, as you can see there on the the forum, we are going directly to Friday morning's Pitt-Stop. We're not going to do the national report. Actually, I think that's what shows up, the national report next. No. Mr. Pitt does have a 10 o'clock engagement, but he has still kindly consented to be with us this morning. So once we talk about the passports, we're going to go directly to Mr. Pitt. I'm looking at my monitor here. He hasn't shown up, but I do expect him at about 9:05. And so we will delay the national report until after we've talked with Mr. Pitt. Now, as you know, we love to wrap up the week with a big laugh. And we're going to do that this morning. We're going to do that again this morning. I have another piece from Mr. Daniel Loveless, Trinidadian youngster who's been making people laugh for the past couple of years. It's a great series, great series. So we're going to do him in just a wee bit. So let's oh, by the way, his segment is titled What You Know, right? Okay, now, let me see here. Let's get down to brass tacks. And this morning, as I promised, we're going to begin with the passports. Here are the comparative prices for passports in the OECS. Now listen carefully. The Grenada passport is 250 smackaroos. All right? I think that's going to be from November 1st. Huh? Yeah, $250. That's what we here in Grenada will be paying for passports. Now, contrary to the impression that was given to us by the authorities, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, their price is $160 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Grenada, $250. If you're under 16 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you only pay $80. All right? Get this. St. Lucia, $80. $80. Dominica, $150. Okay? If you're under 16, it's $75, half price. St. Kitts and Nevis, $250. So yeah, we're on par with St. Kitts, Nevis. And by the way, in St. Kitts, Nevis, if you're under 16, it's $150. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I may have seen somewhere where that's for 10 years in St. Kitts, Nevis. All right? In Grenada, it's $250 for 5 years. And finally, get this, Montserrat, $50. $50. So, my dear friends, there you have it. Those are comparative prices for passports within the OECS. Now, let me see here. Oh boy, you guys are checking in all over the place. Ryan says he was worried about me yesterday. Oh yeah, Ryan, let me tell you what happened. Yesterday morning I had a meeting downtown. And right after I walked out to that place where I had this meeting, I decided to take a walk down Market Hill to do some errands before heading back to the studio. It was raining, and therefore the pavement was kind of slippery, all right? Well, take a look at this. I don't know if you can see this. Eh? See that? Georgie Porgy went tumbling like Humpty Dumpty? Yeah. I can't stand up now to show you the bruise on my knee, which is even bigger, huh? Bigger than this, yeah. I busted my tail, if you will. That ain't all. Can't take my shirt off now because you might see my boobs, and we don't want that to happen, but if you take a look here, another big bruise from that fall. But I'll tell you, I'm very lucky because somehow my right cheek also went bang into the pavement, and it bled for a little while, but it eventually stopped, okay? So yeah, I got pounded good and proper yesterday, good and proper. So that's why, and the fact that we had no internet yesterday morning, I mean, it was a screecher of a day. Really kind of day when you get ticked off. Everything seems to have gone wrong, but all things work together for good, for those who love the Lord, all right? Okay, so back here now, Duncan, it's Broco, whoever that is, says good morning. Kipling Francis is asking you guys to share. Margaret Francis is saying happy Friday. Happy Friday to you two guys. The Right Honorable Joe Prince Hunt is saying top of the morning, Gigi and friends. And Lydia James is saying George. How are you green so this morning? My favorite color. Yeah, it's also my favorite color, Lydia. But yeah, nothing to do with politics. Nothing. Ryan is saying, good morning, TGIF. Sean is saying, good morning. Hello, Sean. John is saying, good morning, GG and gang on this fantastic Friday. Indeed, it's a fantastic Friday. He says, George, you're not wearing Sharon's saddle, are you? No, I'm not wearing Sharon's saddle. I can't wait to see her when she gets back here next week or next, I think it's the week after she's going to be here. Ryan Jabon says, thought you were indisposed. Geez, man, you got to be careful. Did you get medical care? Well, once I got to the foot of Market Hill, I decided to go directly to a pharmacy, and they put all kinds of stuff on it. Junk. Some of it is washed off now, but I understand that I have to keep putting this on me. And I ache. I'm finding out about parts of my anatomy that I didn't even know existed. I'm hurting. Old bones, I guess you call them. Osmond Lewis is saying good morning to you guys, and Gene Pascal. No. I want you to take a look. There he is. You know that guy? I did promise him I would get him on at 5 after the hour. Well, it's 10 minutes after the hour. Good morning, Mr. Pitt.
Good morning, George. How are you?
I just told you people a mash-up.
George, can I recommend something?
That I don't fall again.
You see, no. When we all get to a certain age, George, there are implements that are designed to help us to walk. You know, there are walkers with 4 wheels. There are walkers with 4 legs. There are walkers that we can use that will add legs to our 2 legs. That will help us to move around, George. Maybe you might want to look at those, George.
Mr. Pitt, I haven't got a clue what you're talking about. My legs are fine.
Okay.
It's just
Let me explain, George. You might believe your legs are fine, but maybe your legs need help.
Why don't you just go to the source and blame it on the fact that the bottom of my shoes must have been a little bit too smooth, and because the pavement was wet, I went.
Well, you know, I am assuming, George, you know what shoes to wear when. Let's go, George.
Mr. Pitt.
This is the place to start.
You're being absolutely no. I'm looking for some sympathy here, and you're pounding the stuffing out of me this morning. I mean, come on, Brian. Come on.
I am trying to help you in the future.
You're trying to help me in the future.
Yes.
Brian, one day I may be fortunate enough to watch you walking down Market Hill and go skid down. You know what really puzzled me? If your feet slipped out from under you while going down Market Hill, you would expect that you would fall on your butt, right?
But
that didn't. Hold
hold
on. That didn't happen, Brian. I tumbled over. I mean, from my cheek to get into the pavement.
Yes. And George, I sympathize, and I wish that I hope you recover soon. But you know what I do when I have to go to town? I walk down Church Street, and I go down the steps.
Okay.
Because I can hold the rail
right
in the middle of the steps. That will take me safely into town.
Okay, I see.
I try not to walk down Market Hill, George.
Now you're getting a little bit more constructive with your skepticism, cynicism, criticism, whatever ism. Anyhow, nice to see you this morning, Mr. B. So you have a big meeting coming up at 10 o'clock, right?
Well, I have a meeting coming up at 10 o'clock. I don't know, it's a big meeting. I have a meeting.
You have a meeting?
I have an appointment.
You have an appointment at 10 o'clock, okay.
Yes.
Well, in that case, man, I'm sure you and I, hold on a sec here, by the way, Margaret Francis she's dying with the laughter. She says, "Oh Lord, Brian, you bad we?" John says, "Can you see Gigi with a Zimmer frame?" What the hell is a Zimmer frame? What's?
You see, there are people out there, George, that know. What can I help you?
You know what a Zimmer frame is?
Well, it's something to help you walk.
Cop out.
Google, George.
Okay, I'll Google Zimmer frame when we're over. Duncan, it's Broco says, Uncle Brian, don't do Mr. Granddad, man. See, I got at least one person on my side. Lydia James says, your bones turn monkey bone already? Lydia, you're on Brian's side, right? She says, be careful, monkey bones are hard to heal. Boy, I sure hope these heal in a hurry. And by the way,
George, why have we increased the price of these passports?
Nice segue.
You know, George, when I saw this thing, and I've been reading some social media comments about people talking about the cost of this new electronic passport, and we should all be happy that it's only $250. I said to myself, I wonder what these people are thinking. This is a service that government provides. And every Grenadian, all 100,000 of us, including children, need this document to travel.
Yeah.
Yes? So it's a service that most governments and countries provide for their citizens at minimum cost, because that in itself, George, is not the average person who go to a fete and pay $500 for a VIP ticket and need a passport. There's some little people in the country that need a passport to travel to see their children in the States. or need passports for their children to travel to see their families,
And for medical attention.
So, for whatever you want to. So this is a service, George, that government should not equate with the cost of the service. Now, when I heard that, I said to myself, okay, so where are we going now? Are we going to cost every service that government is providing us and have them charge us for providing that service? Because you're opening a can of worms, I wanted people to realize that this could be the beginning of an increase in the cost of living, because there are a lot of other items that may very well come along if we accept this as being normal, George.
Mm-hmm. Well, yesterday on the program, I mentioned that what happened now with this increase might be an indication that there are further increases to come. And the reason why I mentioned that is because they specified that what they're going to be charging, $250, is not what it costs to make those passports. It costs more. So this is a heads up that you can expect an increase.
George, remember, I think it was last week or the week before, I spoke about the 1995 election and the removal of all personal income tax pay as you earn?
Yep.
Government now finds itself in a position where they need as much cash as possible from as many sources as possible. This is to raise funds, George. And I think we have to be careful about how we accept these things. I mean, Grenadians seem to be so passive about accepting everything. And you know what I found by a very informal survey that I did, George? There are a bunch of people in Grenada between the ages of 35 and 45 that consumes and swallows everything that government says to them about what government is doing. It's a strange kind of group of people. So there's an argument out there that, hey, this is a more improved passport, it costs us more, so what are we complaining about? Nonsense. Total
nonsense.
Oh yeah. Maybe Ambrose Phillip has started something,
Yeah.
Maybe this kind of protest will start. You see, this might be the only way that we can get the attention of the powers that be, George, that they are affecting our lives in a negative way.
For people who don't
Yes,
know what
sir.
you're talking about, Brian, explain what you're talking about when you mentioned Ambrose Phillip. Explain that.
Well, Ambrose went to, as I understand it, I wasn't there, so I can't give a first-hand explanation. Ambrose went to a funeral, I understand, and while at the funeral, his car was parked somewhere in River Road, and the police clamped his vehicle.
I think that was on Cemetery Hill, next to Lacroix's crematorium, I think it was.
Well, wherever it was,
okay.
The police put a clamp on his vehicle,
right,
so that he could not move it. I understand that the police clamp vehicles if you are obstructing traffic. Yes?
Yes.
And Ambrose objected to this thing and rested in the middle of the road. The report I heard suggested that he fainted in the middle of the road when he saw his vehicle clamped, which sounds like a reasonable idea, to lie down in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Civil disobedience. And it will be interesting to find out where this thing goes, because civil disobedience might be the way forward for most of us who find ourselves at the other end of decision-making by government.
Brian, good point. I'm not saying that it's right to obstruct traffic or do what Mr. Phillip did. But I've often wondered, how come with all the nonsense that's going on in this country today, we haven't seen any indication of civil disobedience until Ambrose came along?
Maybe that's coming, George, because you see this passport thing? It is dangerous. Now, think of it this way. What else is going to be increased? And when are these increases going to stop, or people decide, listen, I've had enough? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Because, if government is going to charge us for every service that they provide, are they going to, if they're going to do renovations at the airport, are they going to raise the departure tax so that they can cover the expense of the renovations? How about security? If they have to provide extra security for us, are they going to put a price on that security and charge us for it? Where is this going?
You're planting seeds. You're giving these people ideas, Brian.
But George, you see, this is just one item that will increase the general cost of living. And by the way, our salaries are not increasing accordingly. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But our salaries are not increasing accordingly. So what will happen, George? People might have to work on more than one or two jobs in order to make ends meet. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
If they have to find extra monies to do extra things or to do the regular things. And think of it this way, George. If both parents or one parent have to work 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet at the end of the month, what happens to the children? You see, there are social fallouts, George, to everything, every decision that is made. For every action, there's a reaction. Unless today's economists are not concerned about social fallouts, I believe the government is badly advised here. Mm. You're dead silent.
I'm listening, I'm thinking about what you're saying, because you're making sense. Mm-hmm.
Fiscal irresponsibility legislation.
Oh, you saw that article.
This whole debate that is happening about the public workers and their negotiations for salary increases. I have been thinking, George, of the many ways that we use and abuse processes. Now, the IMF put this thing in place, and by law, I believe there's a committee that's responsibility for providing reports on how well we are doing. This said committee, George, as we have discussed before, have put out reports for the last few years and made recommendations in those reports as to how to make this thing work more transparently. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But somebody asks you for an increase and you throw that back in their face to say, listen, we are operating under this fiscal irresponsibility legislation put in by the IMF, so we can't give you any.
No, stop. The IMF did not put in a fiscal irresponsibility legislation. They put in a fiscal responsibility legislation. Thank you.
Okay. The name of the legislation, I stand corrected on that. But they throw that forward on every occasion they can to justify the fact that they cannot give an increase to the public workers. They are not telling us what they do with the money they're collecting. Or the committee that was put in place to monitor this process is not convinced that they're getting all the reports that they should be getting to find out how much money they're collecting and what they're spending it on. Yes?
Yeah.
And I am scratching my head, George, to figure out what are these people doing?
Brian.
Isn't that we just swallowing everything the government tells us?
Brian, let me explain to you why I'm laughing. I think you're entitled to know. You just mentioned that we don't know what they're doing with the money. Brian, can you imagine? Here's an analogy for you. Can you imagine? You have a business. You want somebody to manage it, run it. So you hire a manager and a team. And then at a certain point you say, well, look, Mr. Pitt and your team, tell me how much money you all making. And essentially you're telling me none of your damn business. Brian?
Yes.
Brian, that's what's happening.
And not only you're telling them that, but you're telling me that in 5 years you'll get an opportunity to get an answer.
An
so
opportunity.
in 5 years I could tell you, So in 5 years, I could tell you I find oil and gas, and you have to believe that. But George, you know, we use and abuse all these systems, and I ask myself the question: okay, now who appoints this committee that is put in place to look at this piece of legislation and make sure that it's complied with? Because this present committee might very well be replaced if they're not doing what government tells them to do.
Yeah.
Because government appoints most of these committees to everything. And then they pick up this piece of paper and throw it in the faces of these public workers and say, listen, we can't give you any money because we're not making any money. The economy is doing bad. However, we still have the best or second best economy in the Caribbean. You know what it reminds me of? During the PRG, George, it was how to put it, a silent fact that the PRG had two sets of books. They had one for the IMF when the IMF came calling, and they had one for other purposes. Yes?
Yeah.
That was the word on the street. Is this government holding two sets of books? You know, I don't know whether public workers or the public would go with this discussion, but I think they have a point, and I think they must challenge the newly appointed or newly self-appointed chairman of the negotiating committee that government put together.
Okay, now you're moving into the negotiations, and that's one of the things I have on my little list here, on my shopping list. I'm going to get to you about that in just a minute, but I just don't want to ignore the folks out there. First of all, just moving back to Ambrose Phillip for a minute here.
Yeah.
John says, so you get your car clamped for obstructing traffic. But being clamped means you can't move it. Hence, you're still obstructing traffic. Okay.
You know, let me give you a joke, Joe. This happened on Lucas Street. They clamped somebody's vehicle on Lucas Street, close to a shop that I frequent, while there was a wedding or funeral in the church not too far from that place. You know what that clamped vehicle caused? A traffic jam going all the way up Old Hope and down Cemetery Hill.
I don't have cars, so that ain't no headache for me. Now, here's another comment. Here's another comment. I think you're going to like this one as well. Margaret Francis says, maybe Ambrose is or was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back.
I mentioned, and Margaret would appreciate this, maybe Ambrose is starting something.
Yeah.
Civil disobedience might be the way to get people's attention.
Just maybe. Just maybe.
Yes.
All right. Now, let's get to the negotiations. I sent you two statements last night. Did you have a chance to read them?
Yeah, George.
One was from the government about the negotiations, and the other one was from the unions.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want to bore the audience this morning by reading those statements, but let me hear your assessment.
Well, I was under the impression that negotiations just began, and that there is usually a number of negotiations taking place before the Labor Commissioner gets involved. It will seem that the Labor Commissioner has interjected himself into the negotiations. And I suspect, again, it is based on this piece of legislation that the IMF left us in, this fiscal responsibility legislation, that they're saying, listen, but government hands are tied. You know, they can't do anything. So let's guys come to the table. Let me bring you guys to the table and see how you can accept either 1 or 1.5%. It is a little top heavy. I suspect they're treating the unions with a little bit of contempt, George. They believe they have the upper hand I don't know why. I guess only time will tell.
You know, I found the release from the government very cynical, and they seem to be just provoking stuff, because I don't believe the union's going to sit and take what was being said.
Well, I believe that the government's position is, they seem to be negotiating from what they believe to be a position of strength. And the strength that they have is this piece of legislation. That is what they're betting, that the people of Grenada will understand that we just came off an IMF program. And as part of that program, to maintain economic stability, we have to put a cap on spending. But on the other side of the coin, they're not telling us how much money they're making and what they're spending it on. Yes,
but
there are programs, George, that are increasing in numbers, whether it's the Imani program, whether it's there are all kinds of different names for all kinds of, there are a lot of programs happening in Grenada right now, of all kinds of different names, huh? And most of those could be classified as vote getting.
Mm-hmm.
Could be classified as vote getting. If that is true, then the regular public servants are doing wrong.
But Brian, look, isn't this Fiscal Responsibility Act apparently being used selectively? Look at what happened. Hold on, they're trying to use it against the unions right now. Brian, in recent memory, look at what happened with the pay for vacation leave. Brian,
yes.
Look at what happened with cell phone gate. Brian, the list
Yes.
goes on and on and on.
Yes.
So it's selective use, isn't it?
But you see, that is why I said earlier, we are using and abusing systems that are put in place for us, yeah? Let me give you a classical example that is happening right now. In the world today, if I do not like you, I call you a terrorist.
Yeah.
Whether you're a terrorist or not, I call you a terrorist. Because there is a definition of terrorism that gives me a certain freedom to do what I want with you. Am I not correct?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we got to discuss the Constitution of Grenada, the Constitution of Grenada gives the Prime Minister some rights and privileges to appoint almost every committee in this place.
Mm-hmm.
Though he might very well say, but that's a democratic right.
Mm-hmm.
But that is abusing democracy,
mm-hmm.
isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody wrote a piece the other day, George, which I find very interesting. It went something like this: democracy, saving democracy from capitalism. How do we save democracy from capitalism? Because in this capitalist world, are very few people making all the decisions for a lot of people. Eh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, George?
Yes, sir.
So we're abusing everything, and we will continue to abuse it as long as we can get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
So if government can get away with putting this piece of legislation on the table, anytime anybody have a conversation with them, what if you're not abusing it?
All right. Brian, I snuck you in this morning ahead of the national report.
Yes.
Which means that we're getting to crunch time now, time to go. However, I just have to get back here because it seems like Margaret and I are thinking alike here. She says, if government's hands are tied, then tell me, how come Sheldon run a $70,000 phone bill and they ain't recouped that yet? Tell me, how come government find money to pay KCM security? Eh?
Yes. You see, George, that again is us abusing the system. We're abusing the system. It's convenient for us to do that right now. And the majority of people must understand that. Otherwise, they will continue to abuse us.
Crapo smoke, we pipe. Here's one for you from John says.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Go ahead. No. In some circumstances, this might be called bullying. Eh? They're bullying us.
Well, Brian, says John, an IMF program was based on the figures the Treasury provided. True or false?
an IMF program was based, yes, true.
Okay, so do you know?
Who gathers those? The Ministry of Finance gathers those figures. No
Okay.
independent body gathers those figures.
Which raises a question, Brian. I mean, you read the FROC report, so you know that FROC is concerned about the data that they are being provided. Okay?
Yes, yes.
Could the same be happening with the IMF and they're turning a blind eye, or because they don't know the A, B's, and C's about what goes on here, they just can't catch certain things?
Yeah, but in most IMF reports, George, if you read the fine print, they complain about what is happening here. For example, I think the last report, they put in a statement there says that we need more sustainable jobs. They're not saying that the economy is doing badly, but if you don't have a sustainable job, the economy can run into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to read between the lines of a lot of these reports in order to get the true story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Kipling Francis says, right now, Grenada is being run by a private club, members only. You agree?
Yes, yes, yes. I agree. There are a few people ruling a lot, the majority.
All right, Brian, we got to scoot, but
Yes.
I'm going to put you on the spot now. I want you to give our listeners and viewers a heads up about what's coming their way this weekend, because I understand you're going to be part of a conversation with a colleague there, Mr. Cajetan Hood. You guys are going to be talking. What are you talking about, boy?
George, I hope we get to talk about the privileges and abuses that government has on the Constitution of the country and the Integrity Commission and organizations like that affects good governance. Because if we don't have good governance, we're going to get to chaos.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a matter, George, of analyzing what is abuse. Is abuse not the norm? Because a lot of people out there believe that if you get a kickback, that is the normal way of doing business. They don't see it as being corruption, George.
Yeah.
So I hope we can have an enlightened conversation about the Constitution and the powers that the Constitution gives to the Prime Minister, and whether or not the Integrity Commission is in fact an Integrity Commission. Is there patronage? Is it normal for people to serve on these committees at the whims and fancies of their siblings and or relatives? So it should be an interesting conversation.
Okay. 10:30 Pilgrims on Sunday morning. 10:30. Brian, Pitt, and I'm not saying versus because they're not. I think they both share a lot. No. They both share a lot of ideas in common. Cajetan Hood, okay, former Attorney General. Parting words. Margaret says, and that dependence on figures governments provide is why these IMF reports must be taken with a pinch of salt. When the IMF can spend time in the country talking to the people and experiencing the reality of their daily lives, then we can take the IMF seriously. Margaret has a point there because, I have met with the IMF on a number of occasions when they've come here to do their assessments. And they don't just come in today, file a report, and get out tomorrow. They spend a week or so here talking to people in civil society, the unions, the this, the that, and everybody. So they have a grasp of what's going on.
This is why, George, and this is my parting comment, it is so important to the administration of Grenada right now to have people be loyal to them. So there are people in key ministries, George, who are mainly there for loyalty, not necessarily because they are efficient.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Loyalty is the name of the game.
Okay, let's part with a giggle. Kipling Francis says, they know the ABCs, George. They just don't know where to put the quotation marks.
George, have a lovely day.
You too, Brian. Okay, Pilgrims, let me take a little break. We're going to see Brian on Sunday morning, but let me take a little break and we'll come on back with the GI. Now, hold on a minute. Don't start thinking about pulling out of here just because I said the GIS. Hold on a minute now. Yeah. Because in just a wee bit, we're going to have a laugh. We got to wrap up this week with a laugh. After all the nonsense that you heard here this morning, we have to wrap it up with a laugh. So please come back after the GIS. I save the best for last. Hang in there.
In our part of the world, we need to be prepared for natural disasters like storms and hurricanes, even outside of the season. I'm sure you'll agree that keeping our loved ones, homes, and businesses safe is important. So, I came up with a few quick tips to help you stay safe. First, make a family disaster plan and ensure that everyone in your household is familiar and comfortable with it. Remember to add batteries and flashlights to your emergency kit. Now, for electrical safety. Familiarize yourself with your electrical panel, as it may be necessary to switch off the power during a storm or flood. Make sure you install a transfer or isolation switch to prevent your generator feeding electricity to Grenlec's line. If trees are too close to power lines, call Grenlec at 237 for advice. By following these easy steps, you will be well on your way to being hurricane ready. Don't be caught off guard by natural disasters. Prepare now. For more information, visit grenlec.com.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this.
Where you get that?
At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Grenada and Japan sign agreement for $1.8 million grant assistance for Grenada. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for today, Thursday, October 17th, I am Rakisha St. Louis. Grenada's fisheries sector is earmarked to benefit from a US $1.8 million grant assistance from Japan. On Thursday, Foreign Affairs Minister Honorable Peter David and the Japanese Ambassador Tatsu Hirayama signed the agreement under the Japan Economic and Social Development Program. The funds will be used to purchase equipment to enhance the fisheries sector. Minister Peter David said the fisheries sector was selected because of the emphasis both countries place on ocean preservation.
The assistance we're receiving is in the fisheries sector. The fisheries sector has always been the focus of the cooperation between Japan and Grenada. For us, our marine space is much larger than our land space, and it is an area of our economy that we intend to develop, certainly with the cooperation of Japan and with the kinds of assistance as we've seen here.
The Japanese ambassador stressed the need for countries to commit towards preserving the ocean space in keeping with the 14th goal of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which state, and I quote, conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas and marine resources for sustainable development, unquote. He called on Grenadians to effectively use the equipment and maintain them so that both countries can ensure a successful program.
We are accountable to Japanese taxpayers for this grant program. Once the equipment purchased and this program is delivered, I fervently hope that the equipment will be used and maintained properly, effectively, and efficiently for the purpose of assisting the development of the fisheries sector with their strong leadership and ownership. Only after assessing the consistent long-term benefit of the program would we probably be able to say that this grant is the money well spent and this program is indeed a success.
Grenada and Japan have enjoyed diplomatic relations for years, with Grenada benefiting tremendously in education, fisheries, and technical cooperation. Continuing with the news, local produce was on full display in Grenville on Thursday at the annual World Food Day celebrations. St. James Street, Grenville was turned into a food exhibition market as many different foods and produce were exhibited. We get more in this report from Karima Lewis, Public Relations Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands.
Our actions are our future. Healthy diets for a zero-hunger world. This is what was emphasized at almost every stall at St. James Street, Grenville, St. Andrew, as agricultural stakeholders observed World Food Day on Wednesday. It was an all-encompassing exhibition as there were participation from foragers, agro-processors, livestock producers, food health organizations, etc., which were experienced by Governor General Dame Cecilia Grenada and Minister for Agriculture and Lands, Honorable Yolande Bean Hosford. The day began at 10 a.m. with an official opening ceremony and continued with heavy participation from the public as they took in information and ideas, particularly on how to prepare healthy, balanced meals from locally grown foods. Senior Agricultural Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture and the Chairperson of the World Food Day Organizing Committee, Lauren St. Louis, in her opening remarks, encourages healthier eating among the population.
Healthy diets will lead to healthier lives and improved standards of living. As we celebrate World Food Day 2019, let us do so with the aim of increasing our consumption of locally grown, healthier foods with smaller carbon footprints, all in an effort to reduce the plague of malnutrition, especially in our children, as they are our future.
Minister for Agriculture, Honorable Yolande Bean Hosford, says the task of promoting and encouraging healthy eating is a collaborative effort between all stakeholder bodies.
Government continues to place emphasis on the development of the agriculture sector because we know that we cannot ensure healthy diets for a zero-hunger Grenada if the agriculture sector is not thriving. I therefore challenge my technical officers our collaborating partners, and the nation farmers to combine efforts in addressing the issue of food and nutrition security. Let us work together to provide safe and nutritious foods in an environmentally sustainable manner so that we can ensure that our population have access to healthy diets.
Here is a look of two of the displays that were exhibited at the World Food Day activities at Grenville, St. Andrew.
We from the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council is highlighting fish. So we have several items mixed with fish. For example, we have a fish kebab, right? So there we have fish, pumpkin, and sweet pepper. So this is another way of serving fish. Then we have breadfruit fish pate. So the filling, instead of using mincemeat, we have used fish. We also have a fish turnover. So we have decided to use white flour and whole wheat flour. You can also use breadfruit, so you can have a fish breadfruit turnover.
We have muffins, gluten-free and sugar-free muffins. Okay, yeah.
And gluten is a chemical found in wheat flour, and we don't want the sugar because it can make you get sick. Shani? We use coconut flour and almond flour because we have gluten in the normal flour.
For the Ministry of Agriculture, I am Karima Lewis.
Thank you, Karima. This is the National Report. More news when we return.
Grenada, it's coming as the Ministry of Youth, Development, Sports, Culture and the Arts brings to you National Youth Week 2019, and it's one full week of activities, vibes and action as the nation turns their attention on the nation's youth. And it's from Saturday, October 19 till Saturday, November 2nd under the theme Embracing Opportunities, Sowing Higher. October 19th and 20th, National Community Service Weekend, island-wide. October 26th, Health Walk and Ministers Address. October 28th, Youth Vibe. October 29th, St. John's Youth Parliament. October 30th, Job Fair and Career Day. October 31st, Fun Night. November 1st, Discovering Talents and Expo. November 2nd, it's National Youth Awards. Sunday, November 3rd, Ecumenical Service and Peace Concert. So urging everyone to be a part of Youth Week 2019, October 19th to November 2nd.
Welcome back. Another batch of Grenadians have been given the opportunity to pursue short-term courses in China. An orientation session was held Wednesday for 21 persons who will be participating in a seminar on anti-corruption and anti-money laundering. It runs from October 21st to November 15th. Sabrina Lane, Human Resource Management Officer at the Department of Public Administration, said the training will be beneficial to the participants, enabling them to help with the mitigation of anti-money laundering and criminal activities.
The department believes that your engagement, ladies and gentlemen, in this particular training is indeed crucial, as it will help to develop a skilled cadre of competent men and women that will be better able and better positioned to help strengthen the capacity of those who are charged with the responsibility to fight against corruption and money laundering operations.
Yang Suzhen, Deputy Chief of Mission, Embassy of the People's Republic of China, is delighted to continue developing a relationship with the government of Grenada. He said there are more bilateral courses to be introduced.
Not only in anti-corruption and anti-money laundering, but also in exchange of culture and exchange of other aspects of our career or of our lives. So wish you all the best. And this bilateral short-term course in China, held in China. Actually, the Chinese embassy is organizing about 7 bilateral courses like this year, and of course we have organized a lot of multilateral short courses. This year we are going to send 272 persons from Grenada to China. Altogether, 374 people will be attending this kind of short-term course, either in Grenada or in China.
That story just ended the national report for today, Thursday, October 17th. Let's recap the top story. Grenada and Japan sign agreement for $1.8 million grant assistance for Grenada. On behalf of the entire news team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rikisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Hey, what? I just came from the land and this sign here caught my eye. What's that sign about?
Someone must have asked GRENLEC to move a pole. But you know, there's no space reserved on the side of the road for planting poles. So GRENLEC has to get permission from landowners, and that can take a lot of time.
Oh, GRENLEC asked me to help them contact my neighbor Ben about planting a pole on his land. But Ben passed away. His children own the land, but they all live abroad.
That's why GRENLEC needs customers to inform them in writing at least 3 months in advance.
3 months? All that?
It seems like a lot, but think about the time it will take for GRENLEC to find and get permission from all of Ben's children. And sometimes moving one pole requires you to move the pole before, the one after, plus the wires that support them on the ground. That means even more landowners to find and get permission from. Then GRENLEC needs to schedule their teams and notify customers about any power outages.
Well, I need the pole on the farm moved, so I'm going to write GRENLEC a letter now.
GRENLEC, energizing our Grenada.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Now, I did say to you that we would wrap up the week on a lighter note. I am a man of his word. My dear friends, have a giggle, have a giggle. Set yourself up for a fabulous weekend. It's good to see that we can actually laugh at ourselves.
Hey Jamaica, this is your boy Daniel, and we are out here in the streets of halfway through here today, and we come out to ask this simple question that we ask around the world. What you know? We just want to know what you know. If you know anything you know, you may know, I may not know, but we just want to know what you know. Let me go. Shansia, Vibes Cartel, and Popcorn are in a room with you alone. 2 persons enter the room. How many people are in the room now?
No, I'm a Christian. I don't enter that part. I'm a Christian. Huh? I'm a Christian. I don't enter that part.
Okay. What is the official currency of Jamaica? $100? The official currency. What is the official currency of Jamaica?
This is $250. It's on.
All right, so the official currency of the United States of America is the US dollar. So what is the official currency of Jamaica?
Okay, the $5,000 note.
Right, so the official currency of Trinidad and Tobago is the Trinidad and Tobago dollar. So what is the currency of Jamaica?
$50 note.
All right, so the official currency of Canada is the Canadian dollar. So what is the official currency of Jamaica?
$100 note.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Okay, so the official currency of... Try to think now, man. The official currency of Guyana is the Guyanese dollar. So what is the official currency of...
$100?
All right, that is correct, man. What is the fifth letter of the alphabet? What is the fifth letter of the alphabet?
E.
And how many letters are there of the alphabet?
$32.
That is not correct.
What is the fifth letter of the alphabet?
First?
The fifth.
Or the fifth? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. G.
Let's say you are in a room alone with Popcorn, Shensia, and Vibes Cartel. 2 persons enter the room. How many persons are in the room now?
I think 5 persons are in the room now, you know. If they give me the 5, I think of 4. You don't know. No. Manners, man. Everything is good, man. Daniel there, you know. Entourage. No. Jamaica, big up. It's all good. I mean, him Jachon. The girls them come. No. Manners, man. It's all good. Rababaka Sata. Roboko.
Look at this. Somebody come look at this. Look at this.
Rababaka Sata. Roboko.
Finish the song for me. Stop, look, and listen. Before you cross the street, use your eyes, use your ears, and then use your...
And then you use your mouth, no, your eyes, manners, boomer drop.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
Who is this person right here?
This person right here is Jamaica Prime Minister.
And what's his name?
His name is... name again. Give me him name. Mr. Golden. Mr. Professor Golden.
What is his name?
Mr. Professor Golden.
Give me his name. Look at his face. Who is this person right here?
Mr. Professor Golden.
Mr. Professor?
No, the Prime Minister, Mr. Professor Golden.
Yeah, so this person here. Yeah. So the current Prime Minister of Jamaica is?
Mr. Professor Golden.
You know what you do? You go have a nice cup of tea and make sure you come back to see the second half. It's great. It's fantastic. I see you.
So can you spell the word marijuana for me?
Marijuana.
Yeah.
M-I-R-G-U-N-A.
You're wrong. Here's why. In fact, you're nowhere close to being accurate. All signs suggest you will never even come close once in your lifetime.
Spell the word marijuana for me.
M-I-R-G-U-N-A. Marijuana. M-A-G-U-N-A.
All right.
Marijuana.
How many letters are there of the alphabet?
You know, son, the bonus ball makes 7 though. Remember, a 6 letter in the alphabet and the bonus ball makes 7 though. You know the letter, manners.
Wow.
Wow. Use the word professional in a sentence for me.
Oh. Well, Jamaica is a lovely country. And anywhere in the world you go, you'll hear about Jamaican.
All right, so use the word professional in a sentence for me.
Professional. Mm-hmm. Jamaica is a lovely country. And it's somewhere you can come and work and build yourself. Okay. If you want to know how to run fast, come to Jamaica. Okay.
Right, so use the word professional in a sentence for me.
Jamaica land we love.
Okay, so use the word professional in a sentence for me.
I am a professional Jamaican.
Who is this person right here?
That's Obama.
Huh?
Obama.
Who is this person right here?
Mr. Obama. That's the president. You used to be the president, right?
That's nonsense. And you should know better.
Like me. Yeah.
So who
He's
is
the president and me are the general?
I just need to show you guys this is the person right here.
That's not
right? So this is the person right here.
That's Obama.
So who is this person right here?
Is that Mr. Obama? He was the president, right?
Hey Jamaica, we're out here with Kebu here today, and I just want to ask him the simple question that I ask around the world. What you know? This is the first question. Can you spell the word marijuana for me?
No, ganja.
Okay, spell ganja for me.
Ganja.
Smoke weed every day.
All right, try that thing now, man. Spell the word marijuana for me. Take a pull, and after, yeah. All right. Spell the word marijuana for me. Try your thing now, man.
What I know. All right. M-A-R, like a Mars bar, spitting in a car. No, she's up on the boulevard, thinking about a saw on what you know. You know, she's thinking about me. She's thinking about the flow. Marijuana, how it go? M-A-R-I-J-A-N-A.
Try again. Spell the word marijuana for me.
Marijuana. Marijuana.
Marijuana, yeah.
Marijuana is hard to spell. I do not know how to spell marijuana.
But this show is all about education through entertainment, so I'm going to teach you today. It's M-A-R-I-J-U-A-N-A.
J-U-N-A.
Yeah, J-U-A-N-A.
J-U-N-A.
Really, nigga?
M-A-R-I-J-U-A-N-A.
M-A-R-I-J-U-N-M-A.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
M-A-R-I-J-U-A-N-A.
M-A-R-I-J-U-N-A.
No! No! No!
M-A-R-I-J-U-A-N-A.
I just don't know how to spell. I know how to flow. I knock it down. What you know? I put a boatload around your neck for your girl, though. Show her how the marijuana go. You know how marijuana flow, how you spell marijuana, how you spell marijuana. It's hard to spell, but you smoke it in hell.
Hey.
I'm so sorry.
Popcan, Shansia, and Vibes Cartel are in a room with you alone. 2 persons enter the room. How many persons are in the room now?
Repeat what you say?
Shansia, Popcan, and Vibes Cartel are in a room with you alone. 2 persons enter the room. How many persons are in the room now?
Popcorn, Shensi, and Cartel in a room with me alone. 2 persons enter the room. 7. Are me alone in the same way.
And this one is for all of my broken heart niggas who love a girl and she don't love him. She was the one I love. She was the one I care for. But she never loved me because I don't have no dough in the pot farm. So I care for her, she left my heart broken. I swear that I broken. Never wanna be the one that I was smoking. I love her, she loves me. But me never have no money, so she left me.
Alright. You love her, she love you, but you have no money. So she left here. Jamaica, we're gone.
Pilgrims, on that note, we come to the end of today's edition of Good Day, Grenada. But hey, even though we wrapped up the week on a good note, fun note, something more serious, our inspirational word for today, which comes to you from the book of Matthew, Matthew chapter 10, verses 26 to 31. So do not be afraid of them, for there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known. What I tell you in the dark, speak in the daylight. What is whispered in your ear, proclaim from the roofs. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. And even the hairs, the very hairs of your head, are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are worth more than many sparrows. That was Matthew chapter 10, verses 26 to 31. John says that piece we ran a little while ago with Daniel Loveless was scary, but funny. Yeah, folks, you know, when you think of the standard of education, and I would say most, if not all, of our islands, it's kind of scary, kind of scary. On that note, I extend an invitation to you to join us on Sunday. As you heard from Brian this morning, boy, we are going to have a zinger in here on Sunday morning, when Brian is going to be joined by former Attorney General Cashlin Hood. And we are indeed going to have a blast. So we look forward to seeing you starting at 9 o'clock. For the next edition of Sundays with George Grant. And also an invitation to join us next week. See how much fun we had this week? Let's do the same all over again next week, okay? Monday morning at 9, and every weekday morning, Good Day, Grenada. Pilgrims, George loves you. So does God. And may he bless you.